Hey everybody, how you doing tonight? It's that time again. It's Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. It's good to see you guys here. Uh, Thanks for stopping by the show tonight. Tonight we have Karen Lawyer from the Kentucky Bigfoot Research Organization. I'm going to call her on Skype in just a few minutes, and we're going to do an interview with her. Uh, Tonight's show is about the Sasquatch. Something that's been around for a long time. I think the first reported video of Sasquatch was back in 1967. Um, it's really good stuff. But it's going to be a great show tonight. So I hope you guys like it. I hope you guys stick around. Um, Feel free to ask questions. Um, Oh, thanks, Marla. Thanks for that. Yeah, it's sort of speckly in the background on the green screen. So I I just got the green screen stuff going today. I don't have enough light. I've got like four 100 watt light bulbs going right now. I think I might have to get a screen that's not so shiny either. So uh, but it's it's a work in progress. What can I say? So I'm gonna call Karen real quick. We're gonna get her on Skype, and we're gonna get this show started. So here we go.
Hello.
Hey Karen, how you doing?
Okay, how are you, Sean?
Oh, not too bad. I know I just talked to you a few minutes ago before the show to make sure everything was going good. But um,
Okay.
were you able to get on the website easy? Are you able to see that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
I went ahead and posted it, so let's hopefully we'll get some calls and get to talk to some people.
Oh yeah, definitely. Marla, can you put our Skype at the top there, if you would? Oh, anyway, so Karen,
Yep.
why don't you tell us a little bit about the Bigfoot, the Sasquatch, the whole phenomena? How did you get into it? Tell me a little bit about the
Well,
Kentucky Bigfoot Research Organization, also.
I was actually contacted about a couple years ago by a man named Charlie Raymond, who's a sweet guy, very nice man, and a great Bigfoot investigator, passionate about Bigfoot. And actually, he had just got done doing the BBC clip, and I think they did something also for the History Channel. So I had expressed interest in it. I'm not originally from this area. I'm not from Indiana. We actually relocated here. I'm actually originally from Florida, from Miami. And I have had this fascination with Bigfoot since I was a little kid because we have our own version of Bigfoot. You ever notice if you go from state to state or region to region, they always have different names for Bigfoot, in the Pacific Northwest, they call them Sasquatch. If you get down to Florida, they call them skunk ape. So I always had this, history as a child being fascinated with this species, this creature, right? So, but just since I relocated here with my family, I got in touch with Charlie because I wanted to look for, to see if there were researchers here that were actually interested in the same thing that I was interested in. Because once again, it goes all the way back to Florida, where I've had, my own experiences, down there. And I got in touch with Charlie, and he emailed me back, and we got to talking, got to become friends. He got to know me a little bit, and he realized, you got the same passion that we have. So I think he's just really passionate about trying to find people in the area that really want to research and really want to investigate and, really want to, find out more about this creature. So we got to talking, and he invited me to become, part a researcher, and I was thrilled. Of course, I'm like, oh, great, this is awesome. A lot of the investigations, if you notice the website, are in Kentucky, but there's not, from my understanding, there's not a lot going on in this area where I'm at, and I'm on the Ohio River. I'm in southern Indiana. So I really wanted to, I love doing the research in Kentucky, but I think, it's just needed here. It's like, wow, there's just not a lot going on here. And I really want to go a step further, with the KBRO on that. But that's how I got started with Charlie, and it's been great. It's been like a 2-year adventure with the KBRO, and it's been a wonderful adventure. It's been a wonderful experience with some great people. There's some great researchers, and everybody is like-minded. Not everybody agrees on every single thing about Bigfoot, but they do. We all have the quest for the truth, and we all want that experience, and we all want to, know the truth and where it's going to take us.
Now, you said you're over on the Ohio River now. See, I'm probably about an hour and 45 minutes away from Cincinnati, and I'm about close to an hour north of Louisville. So, um, down in the area that I'm at, I've been doing quite a bit of personal research ever since I had contacted your guys' organization. Um, and like I said, I told you earlier about my family's story. It's a story that's been passed down. Um, my mom passed it down to me. My grandpa told it to my mom. Of course, her brother, who had died, who had
Right.
the experience, he died whenever my mom was still a toddler. So it's something that's just been passed down from generation to, from my grandpa down to my mom, and my mom passed it on to me. So it was sort of cool to get in touch with you guys and learn a little bit about the Sasquatch and what all
Right.
goes on with doing the research, because um, there are it's becoming more of a mainstream thing now.
Right.
I see a lot of
Yes.
shows on TV. The Finding Bigfoot show,
Right.
and then there was a really good documentary that aired not too long ago, I think, on Animal Planet.
Okay.
That was that had a demographic of all the different places that um, there have been reported Bigfoot or Sasquatch sightings, all over the globe. So, over in Asia, they call it a Yeti. So,
Right.
I
Well,
guess
yeah,
there's.
and yeah, yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
And,
Go ahead and talk. Yeah,
well,
yeah.
I mean, elaborating on what you're saying, it is clearly a global phenomenon. I mean, it's not just, I'm from South America, and we have our version of Bigfoot in South America. So it's clearly all over the world. And you're right in saying that it is becoming more mainstream, Bigfoot research, people getting out there. It just really does stem from that primal instinct that we have to know what is out there, what is out in the dark, and what lives, in the caves, and what lives in the trees. It is quite a phenomenon, and I think it's going to be increasingly so. I think we're going to see, years from now. I mean, in just the last few years, even in just the last couple of years I've been with the KBRO, the curiosity of it has just increased just from the time I've been there. So clearly this is growing. People want to know. People have a desire to know. And, you have your skeptics, but you also have people that are uh, going from skeptic to believer and saying, you know what, I never believed this stuff before. I mean, I grew up hearing stories and stuff, and now there are people that are actually starting to take this seriously. And of course, you have the scientific community getting in on it, something that they kind of, avoided decades ago, and now they're getting into it with men like Jeff Meldrum and people like that, and Melba Ketchum, and they're just now they're deciding, what, there's something to this. I mean, there are thousands and thousands of sightings. Is it all one mass delusion? Are these people not seeing what they're seeing? Are they imagining it? Or is this a real thing that people are actually witnessing? And that's why I was drawn to it. I said, I have this desire within myself. I just got to know. And I'm not alone in this. I'm an ordinary person. I am not a scientist. I'm the housewife who holds a job and a mother, and more and more women like myself are feeling drawn to this and saying, there's something to this. We need to take a look at this. So yeah, you're right in saying, there's more to it than just myth. This is something really physical that we may be dealing with, and we'll have to deal with.
Now, I found the BBC news clip for the for the Kentucky Bigfoot Research Organization. I want to play that clip real quick, if that's okay with you,
Sure.
so people can sort of get familiarized with some of the people that you're probably going to talk about tonight. Because that I'm sure I'm part of a paranormal group called Access to Paranormal, and we're pretty active down here in southern Indiana, and we're getting ready. We're expanding gradually as time goes on. We're
Awesome.
trying to expand quite a bit this year and branch out and go into different states and so forth. So hopefully, yeah, our group we're pretty solid. We're pretty close. So I talked to David and I talked to his wife, and and then there's Danny and all these other guys. So I've got stories, and it's always going to have somebody from our group in it. So I wanted to share this with some of the people, and
Okay.
that way they can get a feel for the group that you're affiliated with.
Great.
I'm Charlie Raymond. I'm the founder and lead investigator of the Kentucky Bigfoot Research Organization. Okay, guys, we're coming close to the possible Bigfoot structure. Parker's going to scan the horizon because there might be one watching us right now. You never know. So let's proceed with caution. We're here in Kentucky at a state park, and the reason we're here, we've got a park ranger that's found some possible Bigfoot shelters. We're going to go investigate. What'd you guys find? I think it jumped and it dispersed the rock, but that looks like a heel.
I'm not sold, no.
A Bigfoot is an unidentified hominid or primate that has coexisted with us. Many of these have gone extinct. This particular species has not gone extinct. It's been cited throughout history, and I'm out to prove these things exist.
These are some of the sketches that I've prepared using the witness descriptions, and sometimes actually I use the witness direction. And as you can see, there's several different types of these creatures. We're getting ready to do a tree knock. A lot of times when people are in the woods, they'll hear a loud popping sound that sounds like a tree limb being hit against a tree. And what we're trying to do is knock, and hopefully we'll get a response, which will let us know one of these creatures are in this area.
Usually you get a response fairly quickly. Okay, let's move on. Let's shut that recorder off.
Well, one of the techniques we like to use is to set up a mock campsite like you see here. Looks like someone's spending the night. We usually do this right before nightfall, and then we leave it overnight to be really realistic. We have an MP3 player hooked up to an external speaker with some snoring sounds to make it even more realistic. A lot of people have reported encounters at nighttime in campsites when everybody's asleep and snoring. So we're actually going to set this on a continuous loop to play overnight. We've got our trail camera set up behind us. So if anything comes in the area, it will snap photos up to 3 times per second. Then we'll leave this. We'll check on our trail cam tomorrow and see what might have come in to investigate.
Okay, it looks like we've got a Bigfoot shelter here. There's a lot of trees. It does not look natural. It looks like something or someone laid these trees like this. Something was living here. There's a fresh tree break right there. And then outside the structure, we have a deer kill. The back leg is snapped. That's indicative of a Bigfoot kill. Well, when I was a kid, like most kids, you hear about the boogeyman or monsters, and there's a lot of reports of Bigfoot, and I wanted to find out for myself, what is this creature? Is it really a monster? Is it human-like? That's more of a reason to protect these things. It's almost like another race, if you will. I want to study them. Where does this fall on the evolutionary tree? That excites me.
Main gate.
I named it Lightning because it's quick and deadly.
There's
That guy there at the end, that makes me giggle with that. I named it Lightning. That was fun.
Yeah, I couldn't see it, so I don't know. I didn't
Oh,
know. I wasn't
you
sure if it
weren't
was on.
you weren't.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't see it, and I was trying to like figure out where the buttons are on this, and
Uh,
you know,
I it. I hope everybody else was able to see it. Was everybody able to see that? Give me a ghost in chat if you were. There we go. Yeah, everybody else in chat seen it. Maybe maybe are you actually in the chat room here watching everything?
I think so. I think I'm in the chat room.
You
Can you
s-
see me?
no, I don't have you streaming here. Here, let me see here.
I don't see the screen where.
You don't see the screen?
No,
Okay,
no. I
well,
see. Like I see that you're talking. I don't see anything else really. I see that I'm on Skype, but I don't know.
if it do you have your web browser opened up?
Babe, do you know how to work the web browser here?
Yeah, all you got to do is open up your Internet Explorer or Google Chrome or Firefox.
Okay. Can you come here a second?
We'll get.
That's just a lot more literate about this.
That's fine. That's fine.
And I need to get it up to where I can see the chat.
Um, she just needs to log on to the website. All she has to do is go to www.iVlog.tv/user/SHAWN D and then A.
Okay, here we go. Bum, 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 bum. Got it here. I'll get on here. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. It's okay. It's okay.
Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, everybody can hear you just fine.
Great, awesome. Let's see if I can get here. See, in the woods, I'm perfectly comfortable. On in front of a computer, I get scared to death. It's just like, all right, here we go. Okay, I guess that's it right there.
Now,
To continue as guest, please click here. Just continue
yeah,
as guest.
yeah, just click here.
Okay, great. I think I'm getting something here. Okay, here we go.
Okay, now what I need you to do is
what I need you to do is what I need you to do is what I need you to do is what I need you to do is
Uh-oh, I think you're like repeating.
Uh-oh, I think you're like repeating.
See if I
we'll try it. We'll try it now, and we'll see if that works.
okay.
Okay, there we go. There we go. We got it muted. We're good.
Okay, great. Okay. So you hear me fine, right?
Yeah, sorry to everybody that's watching the show. It went on a constant echo loop. It was
Okay.
pretty crazy. So I'm sorry about that. But
It's okay.
hey, we're back and we're doing good. So anyway, that video, I, I I thought that video was really cool. You guys get a lot of calls and stuff like that from the game wardens and things. Do they work close with your organization? Is there like a specific spot that you guys generally go to?
Yeah, they actually get a lot. The KBRO gets a lot of calls, and what happens is Charlie will get the majority of the calls, and he will filter the calls to the rest of us, which in reference to reports. And many of the reports are filtered for credibility. We're very careful about who we speak to, and it's a pretty good system the way he has it set it up. I think he's making very good connections in the community with Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, law enforcement, people like that. I think it's coming along for something that he just started just a few years ago, I think. So it's a good outlet as far as schools of thought on the whole subject of Bigfoot. And when you find as a researcher, whenever you're researching Bigfoot, oh my gosh, there's so many different perspectives on Bigfoot. In fact, the Bigfoot community can be quite split on many of the issues and the topics of Bigfoot. So you get a real feel for that, and that was something I really came to understand when I came into it, which is good because I think having an open mind to different opinions out there, whether you agree with it or not, is actually a good thing. Um, once again, we're all just trying to find the same thing, but there's, different schools of thought on what Bigfoot is, what their intentions are, just all kinds of things. So you get a real feel for that. It's really neat.
So what are some of the different perspectives on the Bigfoot? I guess you would say it's not a phenomenon.
Right.
We can't say that it's something that's outside of nature because
Right.
most people believe that it exists within nature. But um,
Right.
what what are some of the different perspectives? Now, I've heard quite a bit of stuff, like just in the past week, and it's
Right.
sort of hard to filter it all out. But
Right.
yeah, I sort of enjoyed reading some of it. Now I know, like on some of the vocalizations, there was this one gentleman who had all these different recordings of these Sasquatch actually talking, like trying to speak in to mimic
They-
human speech and all this other stuff. So
right.
I just wanna understand, some of the different perspectives, what your organization sort of where you guys have a standpoint, what your standpoint is, and get a general consensus.
Well, when I first got into Bigfoot research, and I think this is common throughout all of Bigfoot research, there is definitely a school of thought that separates within the Bigfoot community. For instance, there's a large part of the Bigfoot community, the research community, that believes that they're dealing with some kind of an ape, some kind of a primate. And they believe that it might be some kind of descendant of Gigantopithecus, which was, an ape that lived, a long, long time ago. So, then there's also the other school of thought that believes that we're dealing with some kind of a human, some kind of a person. And the way I kind of I gravitate more to that I think we're dealing with some kind of a humanoid, in the sense that my perspective is a little bit different than other people's perspective. Um, I like to think that the Native Americans and their history with Bigfoot speaks a lot to this subject. Native Americans, from my understanding of it, have never referred to Bigfoot as an animal. They've always referred to Bigfoot as a type of human or a type of person that they lived alongside with and even had an uneasy alliance with. So I think that is definitely something I noticed the minute that I really started to get with other researchers. Some think it's some kind of a primate or some undiscovered species of ape. Others think that it is a type of human. And that is split right down the middle as far as research goes. Um, the reason why I believe is because it's led into another hotly debated topic of pro-kill or no-kill. There are many in the Bigfoot research community that think, okay, if it's a type of animal for the good of the species, we need to present a body, as evidence to the scientific community and everybody else that this is a type of animal. So they're pro-kill, naturally. Whereas people, in the no-kill community have a problem with that. If you think that Bigfoot is some type of a human or some type of person like the Native Americans do, then you would have to think that human DNA is involved in this. So it opens up the debate that, okay, if we kill a Bigfoot, you may be committing murder if you do that. So it's a real touchy subject among a lot of Bigfoot researchers. Um, you just have your opinion about it and go from there. I mean, at the end of the day, you are looking for evidence at the end of the day, and you are going to try to prove the existence of this creature, whether it's an animal or a type of human. At the end of the day, that's exactly what everybody's going to end up at. But there is a lot, and you'll find when you talk to a lot of Bigfoot researchers, whether it's online or just, in person, you will find those opinions are shared quite a bit on both sides. And both sides are very passionate about those opinions.
Now, I was trudging around on the internet and I found this news broadcast. And I don't know if you've seen it or not, but it was a group that claimed to have undeniable proof,
Right.
DNA evidence
Right.
of Bigfoot. Now, I'm just going to play the clip. You can take it at face value. This is
Okay.
this is from a a news broadcast. So there is, an anchor person and such, and any one of my viewers, you guys are more than welcome to find any of this stuff on the internet. Everything that I get on the internet is open source information, and I also want to plug the Kentucky Bigfoot Research Organization's website. You guys can go to www.KentuckyBigfoot.com, and they have all kinds of stuff. I mean, literally all kinds of stuff on their website, and it's a beautiful website. It's really easy to navigate. Just check it out. Sometime after the show, whenever you get time, I'll plug it again. But here, I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna play this video. I don't know. It's a couple minutes long, but I just thought it was really cool. And you were talking about evidence, and I didn't know if you had heard anything about this.
Oh,
And I'm not trying to pull this out of the air, but you were talking
yeah.
about it, and I thought it'd be something cool to sort of discuss, or maybe if you didn't know anything about it, you could do research, and your organization could do a little bit of research into it, and then come
Okay.
back later and talk with me about it, because that would be awesome too. I'd like to do more shows like this. You're an awesome person, awesome guest. So
Oh,
I'm
thank
I'm
you so much.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play this next clip. All right.
Okay.
Bigfoot. Is it real or is it a hoax? Well, one East Texas woman has dedicated the past 5 years to studying DNA of the species. Members of the Sasquatch Genome Project recently released new, higher quality, never before seen footage of Bigfoot. Dr. Melba Ketchum tells East Texas News 9's Leah Hughes that Bigfoot is real and her research proves it. It's new at 10.
It took the Sasquatch Genome Project 5 years and nearly $500,000 to do it, but this group of scientists believe they have proven the existence of Bigfoot.
Neither evidence will stand alone under the scrutiny we're getting. Well, mine would, but it's not interesting to viewers because it's DNA.
The group recently released this new video they captured of the elusive creature. Lead investigator Dr. Melba Ketchum says she studied a DNA sample of the specimen you see right here in the video, shot by team member Adrian Erickson.
We tested, among other things, the red hair gene. And when we sequenced the red hair gene in this individual, she's red, and she had human sequence at that particular gene, and it has red hair. The physical attributes of the specimen in his video exactly matches what we tested, and nobody could have predicted that. In other words, her DNA matches her video, which is so wonderful.
Ketchum says she has no doubt that what she is researching is some kind of human hybrid.
They're more whatever they are with a little bit of human.
But you won't catch Ketchum calling them Bigfoot.
They're humans. Talking human, you don't want to kill them. That's wrong. We want them protected. They don't need habitat. They live fine like they do.
And when asked why there weren't any remains or bodies to study,
they are able to hide from us. That's why there's not bodies. They live in an environment. They have the cunning of animals, and they have the intelligence of human and more.
Ketchum says she was once a skeptic, but all that changed because she has seen Bigfoot with her own 2 eyes.
So they took me up to North Texas, and I was able to actually, I saw 5 that day, which just blew my mind.
You were 100% certain you saw what you
saw. Oh,
saw.
yeah, there's no doubt in my mind.
Ketchum says she hopes the new video, along with her research, will result in some recognition from the scientific community. Leah Hughes, East Texas News.
Well, Dr. Ketchum says there have been numerous Bigfoot sightings right here in East Texas.
Sorry about the low volume there, guys. There was nothing I could do. I turned it up a little bit. It's just the video itself was the audio on the video itself was very low, but they were essentially talking about some DNA that they took from a hair sample, and
Right.
they said that they were able to prove the existence of Bigfoot using the DNA. So I mean, it, there is evidence out there apparently. Um,
Yes.
so, and another thing is I've I've got to show that I've got to show these. I mean, everybody has heard stories about the footprints and
Right.
things like that. And um, I couldn't tell you how many foot casts and stuff that I've seen whenever doing some research here, especially this past week that I've seen of Sasquatch and
Right.
things like that. So I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about some of the evidence and things that
Right.
you've seen um, doing
The
investigations.
as for what I know about the Erickson project and Melba Ketchum, is that apparently there is been several samples that have been verified to have DNA of Bigfoot, and I believe the Erickson project also has video of a Bigfoot named Matilda, if I'm not mistaken. And Matilda is shown in the video, and it's supposed to be an actual video of an actual Bigfoot, and they call her Matilda. As far as the Erickson project goes, I really don't know too much more about that. Once again, because this has been presented, um, Melba Ketchum has become something of a lightning rod in the Bigfoot community as far as the evidence she's brought forward with DNA evidence, hair samples, and stuff like that. I don't have I at this point.
One second, we're experiencing a little bit of technical difficulty here. I lost the audio. Just give it 1 second. It's a live show, and things like this happen. It happens. Things like this happen. So we lost some audio. It'll be right back on. And no, she's still around. Just no. Call her right back here.
You there?
Yeah, we lost you. Yeah, we lost everything there for a
Okay.
second. It
Um,
happens.
that's okay. And like I said, I don't like I was saying before. I don't know much about the Erickson project except that Melba Ketchum is a scientist who has presented this groundbreaking evidence of DNA evidence of Bigfoot. Many Bigfoot researchers in the community will criticize her findings, and many will praise it. So nobody really knows, if the Erickson Project does have video of a Bigfoot named Matilda. That's all I really know about it. They claim to be the real deal. I don't know much more than that. Like I said, both sides are going to be critical of the evidence that is presented forward, which once again goes to the argument that pro-kill is the way to go, because nobody's going to be convinced unless there's a body. And there are many in the Bigfoot community that would argue that and say, you know what, no matter how much evidence we bring forward, it's just footprints or hair samples or DNA samples, there's always going to be the argument on both sides of whether a body is going to be the ultimate evidence. And some people do say that a body is going to be the ultimate evidence, and that is something we don't have yet, at least, not reported. But as far as evidence goes, it's always the number one goal of a Bigfoot researcher to gather evidence wherever they are, when they are, hiking in the woods, and to look clearly for it. Footprints, now, like nesting areas, that's been commonly reported, especially in Ohio, because they have the grassman there, and that's why they call him the grassman, for a lot of reasons, because of the elaborate nest they found out there. And it just kind of just it goes to the heart of why we do this in the first place, is to go and try to gather evidence and bring it forth. And I try to do that when I go out. I'm always looking. It's very important to listen, to look, and to try to gather, what I can as far as evidence goes. And, it's not easy, I have to say. And there are many Bigfoot researchers that we spend countless hours in the woods on our own, just trying to find evidence. And it's can get tedious. It's enjoyable, but at times it's frustrating because you think, they're so elusive, they're so cryptid, it's just, they are intelligent. So apparently they're able to cover their tracks. And if you believe that they're some type of human, then they are quite very capable of covering their own remains. Um, People think, why haven't we found the Bigfoot? Why haven't we found the bones yet? Why we haven't found, well, like I believe that they're type of person, type of human, or humanoid, then it's logical to think that they bury their dead, like we do. So that's another reason why we haven't found evidence. And if you're dealing with the skunk ape, you can't find footprints in a swamp. So they have become masters at being elusive to the public. And they say Bigfoots travel by rivers and streams. That's another reason why you don't find a lot of footprints. When you get into this and you really start to research, like, wow, this is not just so easy, just going on in the woods and then boom, there's footprints. It's actually harder than people think. I appreciate the challenge, but sometimes it's frustrating to be going out in the woods and I'm like, okay, I came up empty today. But then sometimes you come up with stuff and you question, could this be evidence or could this be not evidence? It's the life of a researcher. And Charlie Raymond and all the people that are at the KBRO that I work alongside with them are very much share that opinion, I'm sure.
Yeah, that that was one of the biggest arguments between skeptic and believer during the whole Bigfoot research that I've been doing is uh, skeptics always bring up the fact, well, if there is a Sasquatch, then why haven't
Right.
we found remains? Well,
Right.
if there are animals that do different things with other dead animals. I mean, we've seen dogs and stuff you know, drag their friends that have been ran over in the middle of the road off to other places, out of the road, or
Right.
so I mean, if you can see that kind of behavior in the animal
Sure.
kingdom, and from different types of animals, then surely something that's a primate, or I mean, we're part, according to genus and phylum, we're part of that Homo sapien. We're right in there, um,
Yeah,
relatives of the
it
primates.
is
So
logical to think that if elephants have graveyards, Bigfoots might also, especially they're so closely related to us. It would be a logical thing to come to that conclusion. It's like, well, but many in this, it's a person who is a skeptic really needs hard evidence. My husband's a skeptic. He just doesn't believe in Bigfoot. But that doesn't keep him from, having that little thing in the back of his mind. And I'm sure all skeptics think this. It's like, what if? And I think at the end of the day, they need the hard evidence. I mean, I just think I've seen enough evidence to know that they exist. And I've even talked to witnesses that claim that Bigfoots have funerals, which is really, strange. You think, wow, Bigfoot having a funeral, Bigfoot funeral, who would have think that? But I've actually heard this from witnesses. Once again, it goes back to my understanding of what Native Americans have been trying to convey for a while about their alliance with the Bigfoot. And it's just like it's like I said, it was from the beginning. It's always been an uneasy alliance, but alliance nonetheless. But it's definitely food for thought, and that's why I keep an open mind, because the big thing with me is that I always tell people expect the unexpected and always question everything. Don't be so quick to believe what someone says. Just, question everything and expect the unexpected. I think there are things we haven't seen yet. I think there are things no one has seen yet. And we might be surprised at some of the stuff that comes out in the next few years. I'm willing to bet that.
Yeah, I've noticed that that the Sasquatch research community has sort of doubled their efforts. I mean, like I said, it's becoming more of a mainstream type of thing, and it wouldn't surprise me one bit if we actually did find something that was pretty solid. I mean, um, in the paranormal community, it's really hard to go down certain roads. I mean, cryptozoology is a pseudoscience, just like paranormal investigation. They're
Right,
both pseudosciences, but I mean, just because it's a pseudoscience doesn't mean that it isn't a form of science. If you look at Charles Fort, like you were talking about, different eyewitness accounts. You
right,
get Charles Fort. He was a parapsychologist in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and he had when he passed away, um, relatives and family had found more than 40,000 notes on accounts
right,
of paranormal activity that he had recorded, just in a short 3-year span, and there was believed to be um, many more thousands uh, of notes and logs and stuff that have been lost or
right.
unspoken for. So that was part of his thing. There are so many different personal experiences from people. Like we were talking earlier about how people just, once you start talking about these things, people just have their personal experiences that they want to tell you. And
Right.
there's a gentleman that I work with. His name is Sam, and he yeah. Whenever I was talking about Sasquatch and stuff like that, he told me that he was down in Scottsburg, Scott County here in Indiana. Whenever he was younger, he's an older gentleman. He's older than me by maybe, I'm gonna say, 8 years or a little more. So he's in his mid to late 40s, and I'm in my uh, mid 30s. But anyway, he started telling me of an account where him and his friend were playing on the back side of a junkyard, down by the edge of this woods, and they seen something, and it actually started to come towards them, and he'd been scared to go out into the woods ever since. He doesn't go hunting or anything. He just won't
Right.
do it.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, for somebody who is calm. I mean, he is the calmest, most, you would never know just by talking to this gentleman. And
Right.
whenever he told me, he didn't crack a smile, he didn't blink an eye. I mean,
Right.
if you could just imagine interviewing somebody and just totally believing everything that they're telling you. I'm sure that you've had interviews like that. This guy,
Yeah.
I mean, wholeheartedly, I would believe this guy in a heartbeat over anybody.
Yeah. Well, it's the thing. Well, the thing about, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just
Okay.
fine.
The thing is like whenever I start to talk about this with somebody, it's almost amazing that I'll run in, that somebody will just come up and say, you know what, I had an experience that I can't explain, or I saw something. And it's amazing how people come out of the woodwork when you start the conversation. And it's like, wow, this is a lot more common than I thought. And I just struck up a conversation with someone that I actually go out in the woods about a year ago. She told me that one of her coworkers has something coming around the house, acting chaotic around the house. And I'm like, wow, it's just amazing how it just brings this out of people. And then people become comfortable. And then you realize, oh my gosh, this is really more common than you think. And I think what's really interesting is that lately, like when I've been doing reports from the KBRO, the one thing that I've been finding I think is fascinating, and I've even gone on a report with Charlie, is how many of these sightings are in broad daylight or in like neighborhoods. I mean, we're not even going out into the woods to check on these sightings. It's like in, suburban neighborhoods. And I'm like, wow. I mean, I've come to the conclusion that I think we're going to see more of these bold, sightings. It's like, wow, they're coming out in the open. They're seen on highways. It's in the daylight. I even talked to a friend of mine who was hiking in the woods, and he said he was hiking and he saw in the corner of his eye something walking off to the side, and it was a Bigfoot. And he just looked at it, and it looked at him, and he looked at it, and then it just walked off like could have cared less that he was there. I mean, they're becoming more bold. They're coming out, and I think this is we're seeing some interesting times, especially when you have the wilderness disappearing and you have human encroachment. We're seeing some interesting times. I'm getting reports of more sightings in broad daylight and just in neighborhoods and stuff, and that's really shocking me, because it used to be that you had to go into the woods, deep into the woods, to even have a chance of a sighting like that. Now they're coming out in the open more. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I think the last couple of most recent sightings that had been caught on video that I had seen whenever I was looking through um, things. There was a lady. She was driving down the road, and what sort of gets me is people have they'll have their phone camera going at just the right time,
Right.
like who normally is driving down the road and they see and they've got their phone out just video recording, as they're
Yeah.
driving down the road and they catch something alongside the road. But there was another news story where a lady had caught something as they were driving down the road. She was
Right.
videotaping. I don't know if they
Just
were
have to
actually
have the camera ready, right?
yeah, I don't know if they were actually just squatching, like doing spotlighting like they would with deer.
Right.
Around here, spotlighting is a big thing where
Right.
hunters, they'll drive around at night because during hunting season, the deer will become nocturnal.
Right.
You know what I mean? They'll stop
Right.
moving during the daytime and they'll start moving during the night. So hunters, they got to get out early in the morning or really late in the afternoon,
Right.
yeah, to really get a deer. So um, I don't know if that was something that they were doing. I didn't do too much research into it, but I know that most of the research that I've done, most of the sightings that you see on this or on these um, creatures or these cryptids is in the upper, in the upper northwest area from northern Washington State all the way up into southern Vancouver, British Columbia. Now,
Right.
I was married to a woman from Vancouver, and she would always tell me about the Sasquatch there, and we actually have a viewer. She's from Vancouver, Sasquatch. She's there in chat. Ashley is her name, but she's a real big Sasquatch fan. She hates the term Bigfoot. She's always correcting me on Bigfoot. But um, she's from that area, and it's something that's real big, for her, and it's real wide
Right.
known, and they have a museum up there and everything else. So
Right.
I think that there's a lot of evidence to support and suggest that this creature really exists, and it's only a matter of time that we're going to get
Right.
that solid thing. Somebody's going to have their camera on at the right moment, driving down the road, and they're going to catch it. So, and
Well,
it's
it's Yeah. Well, another. Well, I think another job of the Bigfoot researchers is to try to debunk and rule out hoaxes, and that's a very extremely hard job because we're not at there's if anybody was to tell me that they're an expert in Bigfoot, I'd have to answer back and say there are no experts. And sometimes when a researcher has to call witness, they have to kind of, you know, and ask questions the correct way to try to get to the heart of their sighting to see if this person. I actually had somebody call me or email me and tell me this whole story about how they saw Bigfoot in their yard. Very convincing. They really, you would have thought that they were really, on the level about their sighting. Then found out later that they made the whole thing up. So that's frustrating for Bigfoot researchers because then we're put in the position of having to try to debunk or try to rule out, not credible witnesses when you're doing a sighting. That's frustrating, and on top of everything else. And unfortunately, you're going to have people out there. A researcher once said that you should never underestimate the tenacity of a hoaxer. Well, that's absolutely true. There are people that are really good at hoaxing, and if they can pull it off, they'll be able to pull it off. And that's why there's people in the Bigfoot community that are being questioned very heavily about their findings. Not absolutely sure of what they're coming up with. And I mean, I'm not going to name names, but one researcher in particular has been figured quite prominently on Discovery Channel. And I'm not absolutely sure that everything he's putting forth is the real deal. And, it's just a matter of opinion at this point, but there are the people that they think if they can mix a little truth with something that is non-true, that is the perfect hoax because more people are likely to believe it.
Oh yeah, I agree. That's something that's hoaxes are something that are very common in all sorts of this pseudoscience
Right.
research that we do. Um, we'll talk more about that. Right now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a quick break.
Great.
Get like 6-7 minutes in. I got a short clip I'm going to play while we're all at break. I hope you guys enjoy it. A little intermission. Go ahead and fill your cups and use the bathroom if you got to.
Great. Thank you. Yeah. How's it going? How do you think it's going? You guess.
Ignorance is what's to blame. It's worth ignoring. You're finding out that everyone has their own price to pay. The consequence of never wanting to change. Can I say it's not the same? Just take the blame. Prove me wrong. I'm waiting here. Can't have you near. Goodbye. Of never wanting to change. Can I say it's not the same? Just take the blame. Prove me wrong. I'm waiting here. Can't have you near. Goodbye. I will make it out here on my own. Just so you know, I'm better one in your brains. Enlighten you, making you one of us. We like to tell you how we don't wanna give in, we don't wanna concede. We're not gonna be where they want us. We don't wanna submit to the way of politics. We're not gonna be where they want us. We don't wanna give in, we don't wanna concede. We're not gonna be where they want us. We don't wanna submit to the way of politics. We're not gonna be where they want us. We're not gonna lie, we're not gonna lie, we're not gonna lie. Hey, we're not gonna lie, we're not gonna lie, we're not gonna lie. One in your
Sorry about that, guys. I canceled the call. Ended up.
Hello?
I ended up canceling the call, Karen, because you were discussing stuff with your husband and everybody could hear. So I went ahead and canceled so you could
Oh
have
my God.
so you
You
could
didn't
have.
hear like,
No, I canceled the call like 2 or 3 seconds into your guys' conversation. Whenever you started asking him how how he thought things were going, so I went ahead and I canceled the call. That way you guys could have privacy and stuff.
well,
And
my husband is just going to tell you, oh, I don't know. He just really doesn't really.
and that's fine, and that is perfectly, and that's a perfectly okay you know way to view things. I mean, if you're going to be skeptical about something, you're going to be skeptical about something, but at least he's not um, total deniability. I mean,
Sure.
he's not demeaning you over it or anything like that. So
Oh, no.
it's almost like he's skeptical. It sounds like he's skeptical, but yet he's sort of objective. If you were to bring him evidence, he would believe it. In my personal opinion, there are
Yeah.
three types of people. There are skeptics, there are fanatics, and then there are objectives. If
Right.
if you're skeptical, there is nothing in the world that's going to make you believe. If you're fanatic, there is nothing in the world that's going to make you not believe. And if you're
Right.
objective, you're on the fence. So,
Right.
I mean,
Yeah. And
it,
that is okay. I mean, I saw somebody pose a question about Willow Creek.
yeah. Feel free to discuss it.
Okay.
Sasquatch, she is. If you wanna answer any question that they ask in chat, feel free to do so. Just tell me to shut up. Just say,
Oh,
Sean,
that's okay.
Sean, shut up. Let me get to the viewers, because this is what it's really all about. Me, I can research this stuff anytime I
Yeah.
want. But the viewers, they come in here to listen to the guest and to speak with
Yeah.
you and to ask you questions in chat. So feel
Right.
free to answer the question. Go ahead.
Okay, great. Well, in reference to Willow Creek, I know somebody asked about this. Um, this is the thing. I am different in the way, and you were talking about being on the fence about certain things. There are many Bigfoot researchers whom I really respect a lot, who really believe that the Patterson film is genuine. And I am certainly not going to go on record as saying that it is not genuine, but I'm also not going to say that it's a fake. I'm one of those researchers that, and like I said, I'm there. My brother's a researcher out in Colorado, he happens to believe that the Patterson film is genuine. We've gone back and forth about this. I'm not exactly convinced that it is. But there are many that do believe that the Patterson film is the real deal. And the reason why I have problems with the Patterson film, which was made in 1967, is Patterson himself, Roger Patterson. I've always had questions about the about his credibility as far as that goes. There's a really good book out called Recasting Bigfoot. If you want to look it up on Amazon, it's called Recasting Bigfoot, and the name of the author on the book escapes me at this time, but the name of the book is called Recasting Bigfoot, and he kind of, um, he kind of puts down on paper his questions about the Patterson film. Obviously, he's not sold on it as well. There are researchers that, believe in Bigfoot, but do question the credibility of the Patterson film. My questions have always been about the credibility of Roger Patterson, the timing of it, the timing of the event, when it supposedly happened. There are many people who claim to be the one in the suit. Bob Hieronymus is just a bad name in the Bigfoot community. Nobody likes this guy, but he's one of the people that claims to have been the guy in the suit at the time that they did the Patterson film. Now, did that happen? I don't know. I don't know about his credibility either. But I've just always been on the fence about it. The only thing I could just say is do your own research. And there are people that kind of try to, dispute the whole thing with Patterson when he claimed to have filmed the famous Bigfoot that was walking across the creek. There are people that say that they sold him the suit, that they talked to him personally about the Bigfoot suit. Are these people credible too? I don't know. It's just one of those things where we probably will never know. And, Bob Gimlin, he tours quite a bit, and he is very famous in the Bigfoot community. He was with Roger Patterson at the time. I don't know if any I've never met the man, so I don't know if any hard questions have ever been posed directly to him, because I've just never, I don't know. So, but it's really interesting. I mean, that film made so long ago, it's still the subject of controversy now. And I personally think if the film had been released now on YouTube, it would have been debunked. But because it was released decades ago and there's a whole story behind it, it's taken on a life of its own. And many people in the Bigfoot community are very emotional about the Patterson film. And you can't convince them otherwise, or whether it's, if it's a fake or not. I mean, people are very dead set on it, and that's what they're going to think. But I just don't know if it's real or not. It's,
Some of the things behind the Patterson film that I seen were some of the questions raised were the bulge of the legs as it was walking.
right,
So I don't know. I don't know much about it. I mean, I know you're talking like I played a short clip there in the intermission that I had. Of course, that's probably what brought up
right,
the Sasquatch, the
right,
person in chat's question about Willow Creek. But um, it's for a film back in 1967.
right,
It's a heck of a lot clearer
right,
and more focused than anything I've seen of the 2014, um, videos that I've seen,
right,
on YouTube and stuff. I mean, I've checked Vimeo and YouTube and a couple other video sites or whatever, just perusing all the different
right,
videos, trying to find clips and things like this. And there's a lot of times, even uh, just looking at stuff, you can tell, hey, that's just so fake. I mean, you just
right,
know it just
Right.
I don't know how you know, but I mean, whether it's just visual or just you knowing how a person moves, that you know that that's a person or something
Right.
like that. So, hey, that's the Patterson film. Yeah, the research that I've done, it's been a very controversial film. You
Right.
know, people are on both sides of the fence. It's either a hoax or it's the
Yeah.
real thing.
Yeah.
People really don't know. All we have is a really good video
Right.
of I mean, by good I mean good quality. A good
Right.
quality video for 1967 uh,
Right.
of
Yeah.
this thing
Yeah,
walking across the
exactly.
creek.
I mean, there are people that will say that it was very hard to fake the Bigfoot walking across the creek because at the time in 1967 they were not making suits like like Planet of the Apes. Like Planet of the Apes, they only made like up to the shoulder, the costumes. So they weren't even making suits like that. So it would have been very hard to duplicate. But yet there's somebody in California that said he spoke to Patterson himself, and Patterson ordered the suit and had many conversations with them on the phone. Now, this video has been looked over and looked over and looked over by many experts, and the one thing they can't prove is that it's 100% fake. There's not one expert that's ever said it was 100% fake. So it just kind of leaves us in the middle. I mean, at least especially with myself, it leaves us in the middle. It's like, well, I don't know if it's fake or not. You got this one group saying this, you got one evidence saying this, you got saying, it's all over the place. And I think the biggest reason why people in the Bigfoot community get so emotional about the Patterson film, because I've seen people get really crazy about it emotionally, is it took on a life of its own. I mean, as soon as they named the Bigfoot, the female Bigfoot walking in the creek, Patty, it's the same, it's the psychology behind it. If once you name something, you own it. You develop a relationship with it. It's like when you bring a pet home and you name the pet, then it's a relationship. It's something you own. And as soon as they named her Patty, it took on a life of its own. And every time I've ever done any research on the Patterson film, they always referred to Patty, the female Bigfoot walking. It's a relationship that the Bigfoot community has developed with Patty. So I'm not saying that's entirely the reason why people who are in favor of the Patterson film being real is that's the reason why. I'm just saying that could be a part of it. I think we have to be very careful about letting any emotion come into our research, and we have to be able to question it and have, no matter how close we feel to it, we have to be able to separate ourselves from that and look at it, objectively and say, okay, this is what it is. And I think that was part of it. I think it took on a life of its own, and that's very hard to work away from that because human beings get emotional about stuff, about what they believe.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you a few questions that I see in here in chat.
Sure.
I mean, people are just are just asking all
Okay.
different
Great.
sorts of stuff. So everybody out there in chat, don't worry, we'll we'll try to get to some of your guys' questions as we can. My buddy Ruth, Medium Ruth, she asked. This is sort of a question I want to know too. But you were talking about female. Well, how do we know what a female Sasquatch is, what a male Sasquatch is, how to determine between the two? I know that sometimes in like nature, normally like sometimes the female's bigger than the male in some species, or they have a different color. But she also asked, do you know how often a Bigfoot eats, what they eat, and also any evidence of how long they live? I mean, is there any research that suggests any of that kind of stuff?
Well, as far as the age goes, I think it's much like a human time frame. I mean, I've read stuff online from Native Americans talking about how Bigfoots live to be 120 years old. I've read stuff like this. As you know, I think you can equate that to the lifespan of a human, especially since they're so close to us. That I would think that would be a pretty good assumption that they could probably live well into their hundreds. As far as telling a female Bigfoot from a male Bigfoot, I think it's kind of the same the way we do with humans. The females, from what I've read, tend to be shorter than the males. Um, they also tend to have, like every time I've ever read about reported sightings, there has been reports of females with infants. There's been reports of females with breast. And, sometimes, it's been very clear in some of the sites, especially some of the witnesses that I have read about, said that when they have a real close-up encounter, from a distance, a Bigfoot could look like a blur and you can't see much, but up close, they have distinct features, of a female as compared to a male. It's been reported. So, but I think the females tend to be smaller and many times they might be a little bit lighter in color. And they also have been reports of female Bigfoots with infants, with actual babies. So that's the only thing that like I said, there's no experts on this. I don't think anybody can really give an answer other than that. We're going by sightings that are, close-up sightings, and those are even rare. Like when there's a sighting, it's usually from a distance. Usually it's not very close where you can really tell anything. But anytime a witness, said that this, creature was 20 feet in front of them, they were distinctive features to both of them.
Now, some of the other questions I'm seeing here. Now, just to sort of knock out Ryan and Wireless's questions both at once. We've discussed this a little bit earlier. I know that you both are coming in a little bit late, but Wireless, I'm going to stop the show just to thank Wireless for being here every show. I know this is only my fourth show, but this gentleman is here religiously, and he's a very, very, very great guest, and it's very, very nice to have him here. Ryan Hi-Fi, he's a great guy too. He's always in here showing me support and love, and that's great. But some of the things that they've talked about. Where are the dead ones? We talked about that a little bit earlier. If you could imagine that that the Sasquatch, Bigfoot, Skunk Man, or whatever is much like humans, they probably bury their dead. Um, so that could be one of the answers as to where are the dead ones. They're probably getting buried, or maybe scavengers are running off with the body parts. And Ryan, we watched the video earlier. If you check in tomorrow, I'll be doing a replay tomorrow of the show about 1 Eastern, so you can catch the recording. But we did do a little video, and there was a little campsite with a dead deer carcass there, and there is a lady who claims to have DNA evidence of Sasquatch, and we talked a little bit about that, but we can't speculate whether or not everything is 100% factual. So, you know, evidence is what it is, and until the scientific community accepts it as 100% factual, from either skeptics or the objective community, it's always going to be just that. It's always going to be speculation. So we can speculate all we want as to what a Sasquatch, how long a Sasquatch lives, or what they do with the dead bodies, but until we actually contain them and observe them in an environment, or in their natural habitat, it's going to be really hard to catch that. Now, DJ Rage 2K1, he asked something. I don't know if you know anything about this, because I really don't. He said, how is your opinion on these inquiries about Bigfoot or Sasquatch being linked to the New Mexico Duluth creatures being like or are Bigfoot, or genetically engineered from there to be these creatures running around the planet?
Honestly, I've heard this before about genetic engineering. I don't think that that is probably the case here. That's my opinion of it. I'm not, it's nothing's been proven as fact, but I don't think that we're dealing with some kind of genetic engineering. I think we're dealing with a type of humanoid that is a type of hybrid. But as far as, messing with genetics, they used to say that, like they're trying to link the Russian ape men, with this kind of genetic engineering that Stalin was doing back, during World War II. And, there's been a lot of theories about that stuff. I just don't think that that really has a lot to do with it. That's my personal opinion of it, but I don't think that's the case here.
Okay, so and that's sort of how I feel just from the research that I've seen. I feel that the Sasquatch is a naturally existing um, a naturally existing creature. Whether it's a hominid or a hybrid or something along that lines. I feel even just by seeing some of the video evidence, and how it moves, or even some of the audio, it's uh it's pretty
Right.
amazing, just to think that it has both ape-like features and human-like features. It's like
Right.
right there in between. But we were talking about videos. I'm going to play a video. I want you to look at it, and I don't know if you've seen it. You probably have. I'm sure you're one of those
Oh,
people that
I look at videos like all the
I
time.
want you. I didn't do a whole lot of research. I'm just going to play the video. I'm going to play it all the way through. I want you to take a look at it. I want you to tell me
Okay.
if you've seen it, and I want you to tell me if you've heard anything about it or anything like that.
Okay.
The
Sure.
reaction of these guys, we'll just talk about it after I play it. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
What's the last GPS?
Our last GPS was, I think, 4.6 is what I
So
read.
we're 4.6 from the truck, and that's the closest road. I'm coming down here. I'm beat. Get my gear off. Get ready to eat. All of a sudden, Eric's like, "Oh my gosh, big bear, big bear!" I grab my bow. I raise up. I look down the hill, and it is the freaking tallest bear walking on two legs I've ever seen in my life. But the moment I realize, I turn to get Eric to turn on the camera. He's already filming at that point.
Yeah, I didn't get pushed on play until.
But when did you realize it wasn't a bear?
Well, when I realized it wasn't a bear, when we were sitting here and with the foliage and everything, the undergrowth here, it looked like a bear because all I seen was the brown coming through. But then as I got the camera and stood up and you grabbed your bow, when it stopped right there at that pine. When it stopped at that pine right next to us, it stared at us, which seemed like 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was staring back for a long time. At that point, I knew it wasn't a bear. Give me the camera. Oh. Eric, get out. Get my bow. Get out. Eric, come here. Come here. Where's my bow? Oh my god. I tripped. Oh my god, I tripped it up. Oh my god. What's that? I told you that wasn't a freaking bear. What was that? It wasn't a bear. Oh my god. Oh my god.
don't even know what that was.
Did you get it on film?
Yeah, I got it on film. I know I got it on film before you took the camera away from me. You ripped that camera out of my hand.
I fell down, man. He was hauling butt.
I tripped over a lot back there myself.
That was not a bear, I'm telling you. That was not a freaking bear.
What was it? No way. What was that?
I'm telling you.
I've never seen anything.
Where's the record on this thing? Where's the...
I'm gonna watch it.
Where's the thing?
Here, let me see. Let's play.
But when I got up and I caught that little glimpse right down there in that canyon, I could see him running, and that was running. It had to have been running at least 2 to 3 times faster than I can run, and I can run fast. But I've never seen anything run that fast in my life.
Freaking awesome.
That's awesome. So who knows? Maybe we'll get another shot at it.
Yeah. Tim, big bear, yeah. Big bear.
I don't know what it was. I really don't.
All right. I want to look at the footage one more time.
Give me the camera. Give me the camera. Give me the camera.
Well, I actually saw this video a couple weeks ago. I looked at it several times, and the I don't think there's enough information there to say one way or the other. I think the reaction of the hunters is very compelling. If somebody was trying to play a joke on them, it would have been very dangerous for them to play a joke on men with weapons who would, in certain situations just, fire or, whatever. I think I'd lean more towards it not being real, and the reason why I say that is because like I said, it just looks like the image in the picture is very conveniently hiding behind a tree and you can't see the face, and I don't know. I'm just not absolutely convinced that this is real. Okay. Right. 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 Right.
How about now? You guys okay? What I said yeah, I got it. I'm trying to read chat at the same time. That's my bad. Um, there's a little bit of a it's something that you get whenever you have a live show. You get these kinds of things, and my
Sure.
viewers understand. So anyway, as I was saying, I'll say it again so my guests can, my viewers can tell. I agree with Karen 100%. I'm leaning towards it's not real. Um, I think that it's somebody in a costume out there playing around. I think
Yeah.
that they're out there doing they're either doing a really convincing hoax, um, or they're being you know,
Right.
somebody's pulling a prank on them. The acting or the reactions really convincing. The
Right.
huffing and the way the guy's you can see it in his neck. He's
Right.
starting to turn red, and that's some of the things that I look for is somebody's reaction and their posture. I mean, because like a
Right.
lot of times, whenever you watch these videos, these people are all like, they're all like, oh, hey, what's that? If I seen something that was 8 to 10 feet tall,
Right.
and I'm
Right.
out in the woods, my reaction would be a lot different.
Right.
So I mean, I'm not a big guy. I'm only like 5'9". I'm only 5'9", but I weigh 180 pounds and I can bench press 200. So I mean, I know that I could hold my own. But if there's something that is literally 4 feet taller than me and probably
Right.
outweighs me by 2 to 300 pounds, I'm going to be severely intimidated.
Right.
So I
Exactly. And I think you hit the nail on the head here. It's their reaction. It may be somewhat exaggerated and convincing, but if it were me, I would have either gone after it and pursued it, like see where it disappeared to, and kept on that, or I would have left like really, really fast in fear for my safety because you don't know what you're dealing with. There's another video on YouTube of a guy that is hiking through the Everglades, and he comes across what I believe is an authentic video. And this guy comes across a skunk ape that is in the swamp, and it's just tearing up some tree bark. And the guy's on it for a while, and then as soon as it stands up, he takes off. I mean, and you could kind of sense the fear, you can kind of sense the excitement of it, and just looking at the video of itself, I would lean more towards authentic. I would think this is probably for real. So yeah, that's what Bigfoot researchers do. We look at these videos constantly, and it's some of them are really ridiculous. When you get on YouTube and really start looking at some of the stuff, it's just some of it is just so insane and silly. It's just like off the bat. Some of it's real obvious. Some of it you got to like kind of think about it a little bit and look at it. But yeah, yeah, I'm just not absolutely convinced that these guys saw what they think they saw. But it's gotten quite a lot of hits on YouTube, and maybe if that was their intention, it worked for them. You know.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that's one of the biggest hindrances in the things that we do. I know that you're in the cryptid field, and
Right.
I'm in a completely different field, but we both experience these hoaxes that are intentional, and
Right.
a lot of people do them for recognition, and they don't realize how bad they're hurting
The
the
podcast.
yeah, the professional community. I say professional in a loose sense. It's not like we do it for money, you know.
Right.
We do it for hobby. Professional, I mean the professionalism that we bring to the field, in each respective field. Yeah, I'm
Right.
sure whenever you go on an investigation, you conduct yourself in a professional manner, as if your livelihood depended on it. And
Right.
I do the same in my profession or in my field. So, I that's what I mean by professional. So I think that hoaxes are just a huge hindrance, and it adds more onto the skeptics' um, side of the argument. Well, this
Right.
film's a fake, or this film's a fake, and I couldn't tell you how many how
Right.
many
Exactly.
films I've seen of these little kids, like teenagers and stuff,
Oh
running
yeah. I
around
mean, yeah.
in ape
There.
costumes. So,
Yeah. There is a very interesting. There actually there actually is a very interesting book out now, and it's called 100 Bigfoot Nights, and it's written by a woman named Christine Parker, And this is a really good read. If you all want to go get a book that is about actual encounters, I believe this woman to be very credible. I believe that she is experiencing what she is experiencing. She talks, and she's not a Bigfoot researcher. She says that right off the bat. And she claims that where she lives, there are Bigfoots that are making nightly visits to her house. And she describes the situation as being quite disturbing, even terrifying. She doesn't really like this situation, but she has written a book about it. And she also, if you look at her website, 100bigfootnights.com, I think it is, she also has video and audio to substantiate what she has been bringing forth, in her book. And I would recommend it. It's a good read, and I would recommend going to her website because it's really hard to get on YouTube and look at all these videos and stuff. And there's just so much fake stuff out there, and it could take a long time. And her stuff is, I believe, to be credible. I think this woman is telling the truth. She's not like in the situation she is. It'd be a Bigfoot researcher's dream to live in a house and have Bigfoots visiting them nightly. But this is a woman who doesn't care for this and is having to deal with this in her life, and she's not too happy about it. But she's journaled everything. She's got a book out, and I would recommend it strongly for anybody who's really interested in this, and you can find out some interesting stuff from her. And she won't give where she lives or what her location is. Understandably, she doesn't want to be bothered, but she's putting it out there, and I think you should check it out. I think it's really good stuff.
Oh yeah, it sounds like a good read. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna plug your guys' website again.
Okay.
www.kentuckybigfoot.com. Check out the site. It's the Kentucky Bigfoot Research Organization. I know some of you from the Upper Midwest Sasquatch prefer the term Sasquatch. I'm going to keep saying that, Ashley. So it's okay. We've said earlier, there's believed to be um, several different, I guess, species of this Sasquatch, Bigfoot, Yeti, skunk ape, whatever, all around the globe. Um, Maybe later this week I'll stream. I'll stream a documentary that I found uh, about about the Bigfoot. I was going to do it this week, but I ran into a bunch of personal problems, so I hadn't been on vlog much to promote the show. And I'm really, really grateful that a bunch of people have turned out today to watch the show. Um,
So
it's really great having all of you here. Um, and I'm very, very thankful to Karen Lawyer for being here also. But um, further things, a couple more things that I had. See, we already talked about the DNA proof, and we talked about that one video. Vocalizations. Now, I noticed that in the video I showed from the BBC clip of the Kentucky Bigfoot research, that there was a lot of calls
right.
being done, and there was the hitting on the trees and stuff. Now I know in the animal kingdom, the communication like that is very very broad range, especially in a primate sort of community. Now the clip that I'm going to play for everybody, it's I'm going to warn you guys. You might want to turn down the volume a bit because it might rape your ears. There's a lot of screaming and squelching and stuff like that, and I'm extremely sorry for it. But you can tell it's a broad range. It's several different clips. Um, it's several different clips, and a lot of it sounds primate-ish. Some of it, to me, growing up where I live, there's a vast rural community, and I used to go raccoon hunting at night constantly quite frequently with my uncle Walter, and we would go out, and a lot of the sounds and stuff to me sort of sound like coyotes and stuff like that. but these sounds are believed to be Sasquatch, Bigfoot communicating with each other in the wild. Now there are I guess during investigations they use tape recorders and stuff just like paranormal investigators use to validate their claims. So I'm going to play the clip. You guys can take a listen. Make sure you guys turn down the volume just a little bit so it doesn't destroy your ears. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play this clip here. Okay, here we go. You might want to turn down your volume just a smidge, if you could, Karen.
Okay.
It's sort of echoing just a little bit into the microphone. So I'm going to play it. Here we go. Okay, everybody. For those of you that are just coming in, welcome into the show. Thank you for stopping by DoXa Paranormal. I really, really enjoy that you guys are here tonight. I'm very, very happy that you guys are here. Karen, she's absolute amazing guest. What you
Thank
guys just heard uh, was the new Shakira album called "Dying Cats." No, no, that was supposed um, Sasquatch and Bigfoot vocalization. Now, I don't know. Have you heard those types of sounds during your investigations?
the strangest thing I ever heard, actually it was twice. One time I was in the woods and it was actually out with another Bigfoot researcher, and this was about, I guess, about a year and a half ago. I heard a whoop, and it sounded like a person saying whoop, whoop, you know? That was one time. And then another time I was out with Charlie. We were actually at, can't remember. I think it was Daniel Boone Forest in Kentucky, and we heard what sounded like this strange sound coming from the woods. I actually got very excited and was running towards it, and I was so caught in the moment. And it was kind of like, it sounded like woo, 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 like just really strange, right? Like almost like and like a monkey or something. And I remember looking at Charlie at the time, and I just started running towards her, and Charlie's yelling at me, "No, don't run towards it! Are you crazy?" And it was really dark, and I just got caught in the moment. I just had to see it, and
That's funny because looking at the BBC video, Charlie looks like a really big guy, and seeing
yeah,
you like my viewers can't see you on Skype, but seeing you on Skype, you seem like
yeah,
a really small lady. So this really small lady is running towards this sound that could be coming from this possibly 10-foot tall, 500-pound creature in the middle of the night. And the big
yeah,
dude, the guy with these huge arms, I mean, he looks really stout for
yeah,
from what I've seen on the video. He looks
yep,
like a really stout guy. You
yeah.
know, the stone is saying, don't do that. That's
Yeah,
funny.
it was really, really funny. And then Charlie seemed to think at the time that it was Charlie seemed to think at the time it was a barred owl. But I know just from my research that Bigfoots are astonishing mimics. They can mimic. It's been reported that they mimic animals. I had my brother's a researcher, and he thinks that he heard one in the woods mimicking his dog. And I think they do that to draw dogs in because they happen to not like dogs very much. And he had told me about that incident. I thought, oh my God. And I've heard that they mimic owls, they can mimic coyotes. So when you're in the woods, unless you're an expert in animal sounds and you hear something, it's really hard to tell. It's like, okay, is it a coyote or is there something mimicking a coyote? You'd have to be an expert to do that. And I think that's where you can kind of get stumped on it because it's like, Charlie thought it was a barred owl, and I'm like, well, is it a barred owl or is it a Bigfoot mimicking a barred owl? You know what I mean? It's just one of those things where you start to question it, and nobody knows. We're not experts in sound and animal sounds, and even if you are, if something can mimic something pretty effectively, um, it's kind of it's really a hard one to get past. Christine Parker, the one who wrote 100 Bigfoot Nights, said that one time she woke up in the middle of the night and actually heard a child in the woods where the Bigfoots are crying out, "Mommy." And when she had said that, I was like, wow. And I heard the audio on it, and I'm like, wow, it sounds like a child in the woods crying out, "Mommy." But she knew there was no child in the woods 3 a.m. crying out, "Mommy." So if you can hear that and think, wow, it sounds like a person or sounds like an animal, it's really hard to figure it out. I'm like, they're tricksters, they can do that.
Well, that's crazy that you mentioned that because
Yeah.
um, I was talking earlier about this gentleman. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but I was looking, like I said, through all these videos, and he had a bunch of these clips that he had done where they had audio and stuff, and it sounded like these Sasquatch trying to verbally mimic the human language.
Right.
And to me, it sort of sounds like somebody intentionally with a real deep manly voice or whatever trying to speak, and it's a bunch of gibberish. But
Right.
I I I really have never experienced that kind of thing. So those kinds of things are new to me. Now,
Right.
I know you're a researcher and you've been doing this for years. So,
Right.
if you tell me, hey, they're good at mimicking, I'm more apt to believe you, and
Right.
it lends more credibility to what I seen whenever I was doing my research earlier.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty interesting. Now,
Yeah.
uh, now you said that you've heard the whooping and stuff
Right.
like that. So I mean, is has there been anybody in your organization that has had anything, um, more
Yeah.
more than just that? I mean, is
Oh
there
yeah.
like a mating call? Is there, what I mean? I mean, have we determined, some sort of like linguistic uh, guideline or something in between that, or
Yeah.
is that all speculation?
No, there have been researchers in the organization that have been able to get some pretty good audio, pretty compelling audio. Um, I don't, know the facts behind, too much about how they get it verified.
Yeah, that's
Um,
understandable. I mean, we've talked
A lot of it
before.
has, yeah, a lot of it is, they keep it, low key, for obvious reasons. But the evidence has been gathered as far as audio goes, and some of it pretty compelling, pretty impressive. And that's what I'm saying. In the KBRO, there's a lot of good research going on, and a lot of research done with intent to bring forth evidence. They take it very seriously, and that's a good thing. I'm with a very good group of people, and I try to do the same thing. When I'm talking to witnesses, try to get to the heart of it, because when you're wrong, people will remember that. You know what I'm saying? So when you have to try to be as detail oriented as possible and get it right, and if something doesn't bear out or come out, well, at least you were honest and did the best you could on it.
Oh yeah, I think that's a real good standpoint to take,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
on the issue.
Yeah.
Um, I think we just about covered. Just about. Is there anything that you would like to talk about instead of just questions that I'm asking? Do you want to take a couple of viewer calls? I'm sure there's people out there that
Sure, if somebody would like to ask me a question, that'd be great. I would love to hear from them.
yeah, anybody want to call in real quick and ask a quick question? You guys can ask her a question, and then um, we'll let her answer. Anybody? Skype info is live. Colon DoXa Paranormal Crew. Just put it in your search bar. Give us a call. Anybody? Give me a ghost. I think we're good. I think everybody's done.
Just awesome. And then just to let you know, I'm with the KBRO, but I am in Indiana, and I'm really trying to hone in on the reports here, even though I do help out with the KBRO, and they do a lot of the stuff in Kentucky. I think this area is very, very active. I could, I could go into detail about some of the stuff that I've seen, but I'm absolutely convinced that this area is active, and it has been for a while, since there have been reports coming into the southern Indiana area really since the 1930s. So this is an active area. If you look at the state of Indiana, most of the Bigfoot sightings in the state of Indiana are in the southern part of the state. I believe the reason why is because we have a lot of forest here in the southern part of the state. Also, through my research, we also have most of the cave systems, if you look, are in the southern part of the state. It's my belief that Bigfoots live in caves. They would be too easily seen if they lived in trees. So they live in caves, and I think they live underground, and they keep well hidden, especially during the winter. So I think, once again, because of that, I think this is a very hot area. If anybody has any information at all, feel free to get in contact with the KBRO, and Charlie will go ahead and filter the information over to me, and I will be glad to talk to you. I'm just absolutely convinced that we've got a very active area, very eager to get in on what's going on down in southern Indiana.
Okay, I do have one caller. I'm gonna add him to the
Okay.
participants. Daniel, you can go ahead and we'll add you real quick. You can ask your question and see which one is it. Be on bad doggy tonight. I think it's this one. He's got a couple here. He's a broadcaster himself, so
Okay.
he has a couple of different Skypes, just like me. I have my one for the broadcast, and then I have a personal one. Medium Ruth had asked. I can't call in, she says, but I'd like to know if there is evidence of how many babies a Bigfoot has at one time. Now I'm gonna speculate. Now this is just from the human experience, from understanding how this works. Like generally, like in nature, anything can only have as many children as it has tits. I guess you could
Right.
say tits.
Right. Uh-huh.
Hey, that sounds sort of vulgar, but that's what but I mean, that would be the
Yeah.
correct term. So, to feed them. So I would guess anywhere from 1 to 2 children at a time.
Right.
Well,
Yeah. I
dogs
mean, that would
dogs
be
have
my
puppies,
assumption.
but they also have, Ruth. You have to think. You say, well, dogs have a lot of puppies at one time, but they also have multiple teats, so they can have a litter from anywhere from 4 to 8. Yes, teats, boo boo kitty.
Right.
I'm
Right.
Here we go. Hey, Daniel.
Are you got me?
Yeah, I got you. I tried to call you just a second ago. It looks like you got a full house there.
Yeah.
How you doing? Hey, how you doing? Daniel's wife, and I guess the other person would be
Her son.
her son. How
My
you doing?
stepson.
How you doing, her son?
I want to say thank you for having her on, by the way, because it's very interesting that she's talking about Bigfoot and the subject of Bigfoot. I only have one question.
Okay.
All right, the question is this. In theoretical science, they have determined that Bigfoot has been now seen all over Mount Rainier in Washington. My aunt and my uncle live out there, and I just talked to them a couple months ago about a story that I'm going to be doing for our show here, and it is related to Bigfoot and Yeti and stuff. My question is this: in theory, do you believe that Bigfoot could be related or is a cousin to all the phenomena that we're hearing about Yeti, Sasquatch? There was another name I can't remember off the top of my head, but they were talking about how they travel and go between different designations of area like Indiana, Pennsylvania, Washington. Do you think that there's a pattern somewhere that they're able to trail and follow these migrations and possibly get a chance to, tag or see one or basically follow and look into where their habitats might be? Where their habitats might be?
I just heard the question. As far as migration, You were asking about the. I just actually just heard. As far as migration, you were asking about the. Were you asking about migration?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was asking about my migration. I just lost the call with him. Uh, are you?
I don't. I think there's. Okay. I think migration is a whole different subject as far as how Bigfoot got into North America. Is a whole different subject as far as I'm hearing stuff come back to me.
Yeah. You need to mute the. You need to mute this
Hold on a
show
second.
again.
Let me mute this. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. I can
Okay.
hear you just fine.
Okay. As far as migration goes, there's there's a big question of how Bigfoot got to North America and migrated into the large land masses of North America. For what I've read, when the land masses were joined together, there's theory that the Bigfoots came from Asia or even from the Middle East and migrated through Russia into Canada and into the United States and then down into South America. I don't know if that's really absolutely the way it went. There's a whole thing. I just don't know enough about what they say about migration as far as to really have a definite answer on that. I don't think that's the case because Bigfoots have been reported here for thousands and thousands of years. There's a lot to say that Bigfoots migrated with the Native Americans, which came from Asia and came into the land masses, the large land masses like North America, and they came with the Native Americans. Native Americans have reported this in their history, that they migrated with the Bigfoot into the land. So, and they followed Bigfoot into the land, or they call him hairy man. Bigfoot is actually a Western term for Sasquatch. But I don't know. It's just another theory. But the Native Americans have reported that in some of their history, that they migrated alongside with them. Absolutely, I'm not sure about that. It's just been reported.
That's
Hope I
that's that's
answers the question.
yeah. That's really cool. Let's see. Is there anybody else that had any other questions? I know the chat got cleared, so I think that's I think that's it. I think that's pretty much it. Well, I tell you what, that's going to do us for tonight. Karen,
Hey,
thank you very much
you're
for
welcome.
the amazing interview. That was great, and we had a really great turnout tonight.
Awesome.
30 viewers tonight. That's really good. I hope
Awesome.
that a lot of you were able to get some questions answered and found the show very informative. I'm very impressed. Karen, you're going to have to come back on sometime and chat
Oh,
with
I
us
love to.
some more about the Bigfoot phenomena, or no, I can't say phenomena, but the Bigfoot legend, myth, or whatever,
Right.
cryptid. So that would be great, yeah, for sure. Um, Thank you very much, Karen, for coming by.
Thank you so
Everybody,
much.
check in with us next week. Next week, we're going to have Anna Heatherly. She's going to be talking about psychic sensitive work. So that'll be something fun. Everybody, come by for that. Um,
Thank you
uh,
so much for having me, Sean. I appreciate it. And once again, I'm looking at Southern Indiana very closely, so feel free to get in touch.
yeah, I'll drop you some information on the Crosley monster. Me and you, we talked about that
That'll
earlier.
be wonderful. I would love to see that.
So I'll drop you some information. I know that there's a book called The Crosley Monster. I'll find it. I'll send you I have your Skype info, so I'll send you a message on
Okay.
Skype, or I have your email, so I'll send you an email, whatever. But it was
Okay.
great. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Amazing,
so
amazing
much.
interview. Very
Thank you.
informative. Thank you again, and I hope you have a very good night. And tell Charlie and the rest of the Kentucky
I
Bigfoot
will.
Research Organization. Thank you very much from Access to Paranormal and DoXa Paranormal. Okay?
Thank you, Sean. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
Yeah, you too.
Bye bye.
Bye. Okay, everybody. Stay tuned for the credits. I'm getting ready to roll them. I hope you guys have a good night. Thank you for stopping by. Also, check out Access to Paranormal on Facebook. There has been a posting the um, for the August Eastern State Penitentiary in Moundsville, West Virginia. It's going to be in August. We don't have a set date, but check that out. Just scroll down the page. You'll see the posting for it. If you want to go, just say, hey, I'd like to put my name in. It's going to be $100 to reserve your spot. So if you want to do that, show up. If some of my viewers show up, I personally will go, and I will hang out with you all night. I will teach you everything I know about paranormal investigating, and trust me, I know quite a bit. I'll teach you the science behind it. I'll teach you about photography and how light works and sound and all that other stuff. I'll do a whole night with you if you want me to. So if you guys want to go, if you guys want me to show up, show me some support. We have a limited number of people that can go, though. It's only going to be like 10 people. So I don't know how many people have already signed up. So check us out on Access to Paranormal Facebook page. Get with David Heatherly, send a message or something on Facebook. We'll be there. Also, we have talked about doing some live streaming video on different haunted locations, so be waiting for more information about that. David and I will be getting around to that pretty soon. I know that he's been sick and I've been having some personal issues of my own. And coming up pretty soon, we got Whispers of States again. I know a lot of you are out of state or out of country, but if you guys want to take a vacation and come down to a really haunted location and have a great experience, let me know. I will even call in to work. I will take the entire day off work, and I will come spend the entire night with you at Whispers Estates. If it's not sold out and you want to get in the spot, let David know. We'll get people coming in from around the world. It doesn't matter. We'll do our thing. So that's what I'm here for, and I will be there for you guys. So anyway, much love and much appreciation. Thank you very much for watching the show tonight. I hope you guys had a good time. I hope you guys found it interesting. Come back next Thursday. Anna will be here. She's an amazing woman. You guys will have a great time. Psychic sensitive. It's going to be fun. So stay tuned for the credits. I love you guys. Good night.
Inside this virus of my hope, turn the page to save you from my own. I can see you dripping from the wall.